Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining. We will get started with the meeting today. I'll be chairing it since the speaker is feeling a bit unwell today. I'll be chairing the meeting today as the deputy speaker. Meeting commenced. Let's start with the long form agenda. Meeting commenced at 6:26 p.m. I will call to order. Before we address the regular business of this meeting, I'd like to acknowledge that we are today gathered on the traditional territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe, lands never ceded or surrendered, and peace to the Crown of Canada. Indigenous peoples living under the modern colonial state of Canada have suffered disproportionate injustice and marginalization. A mere land acknowledgement is not enough to make reconciliation and reparation to the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island. We must stand in solidarity against colonialism and remember our responsibility to the land and the peoples who have kept it for generations, which means affirming their call for the free and unencumbered return to their ancestral land. It is also fitting for this body of lawmakers to remember the spirit and wisdom of Indigenous governance models, from the collaborative bicameralism of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy to the consensus-based government of the Inuit, to deliver to students a better student union. We will move on to the next business on the agenda, which is approval of the agenda from the past meeting. Be it resolved that the agenda be approved as presented to council, notwithstanding section 18 of the council rules of order. It is moved by myself, the speaker, and seconded by Councillor Okranik. Anyone opposed to this motion? Okay, it is carried by unanimous.
I don't think Erin is here right now, so I can second it for her.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. So it is moved by Raj Gill, the speaker, and seconded by the president. Anyone opposed? So I do believe it is carried by unanimous consent. We will move on to the approval of past minutes, C45A and B. August meeting. Be resolved that the minutes from the August meeting of council be approved. It is moved by myself, the speaker, and we're looking for a seconder now.
I can second that one as well.
Thank you, Madam President. Seconded by Madam President. Anyone opposed? The motion is carried. Moving on to C45B, whereas council resolved to meet on the 12th of September, but no agenda was approved by the Agenda and Operations Committee due to a lack of necessary business. Therefore, be it resolved that the minutes from the September special meeting of council, which are blank, be approved. It is moved by the speaker and seconded by, I believe the speaker is here now, Councillor Okranik.
Yes, she's here now. She's okay. She's in the Zoom now.
Yes. So it is seconded by her.
Oh no, sorry. I think she left. I don't see her anymore.
Okay, I see her. She just turned on her camera, so she's present.
There she is.
Sorry, just clarification. I was in emerge for 48 hours. So because of that, and I also can't speak that long. So anyways, the deputy speaker is going to be leading this meeting.
Yes. Thank you, Speaker. We'll vote now on anyone opposed to this motion. Seeing none, it is carried. We'll move on to executive reports now. The president has the floor.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll keep this really brief because we have a big agenda to go through, but essentially we are still working on a number of agreements. We are currently in communication, or myself and the director of student services is currently in the middle of negotiating the CUSA GSA services agreement with the help of Jeremy from the university. We are also in the middle of collective bargaining 3011, which should be ending in the next week or two. As well as we just got our team together for the 1281 collective bargaining, which should start soon as well. Then we're also at the final stages of the master fees and services agreement, where the end there. We just signed on to the Hatch agreement, which is basically in partnership with Innovation Hub for our service center Hatch. We also have signed the conversation agreement, which is a part of student care, and that's the long-term mental health pilot program. So we've officially signed on to that, and I believe an email was sent out to students already to let them know about this new service. So you should definitely check that out. Since we are piloting it, it'll be really important for people to have feedback by the end of the year to see if it is sort of something that we want to continue offering students. Which would require likely a referendum of some sort. So definitely, if you have an opportunity to use it, I would suggest that and to provide feedback to the team here or to council. The other thing is, we had a clubs conference. I gave a leadership workshop for club executives, and that was really, really a great experience. We've also been doing a lot of budget work. So I'm currently working to complete the businesses and their budgets, the communications budget, helping with the research and advocacy budget, and the building, and I'm working on the building operations budget. And these are all things that I've been working on over the past few weeks, as our executive director was away on medical leave, and I was sort of taking over his responsibilities as well as my own responsibilities. And then we also have started a CUSA athletics partnership. Essentially, the executives will be repping an athletics team and attending those sports games, tabling, potentially some halftime shows and things like that, sort of to appeal to a different group on campus, athletes, I suppose, and just to have a scene there so that we can, show the services that we offer, especially because a lot of our services really do complement what athletes are looking for, such as like mental health services and things like that. So that's really exciting as well. And we also finished, for our frosh. We had a great frosh. Thank you so much to the rest of the executive, especially like Anshika, and even our behind the scenes staff, like our events and programming coordinator, because it was really such a huge success. We got incredible feedback on our events. And really it's because of the hard work of the executive, Anshika coming in every morning at like 8:00 a.m. to set up tables, Hallie Faris and Gabe and Davin and everyone running around and getting things done. It was really great. So thank you to everyone who made Frosh such a success. It's been really great to see the feedback and the energy from first year students, and even second and third year students who it's their first time on campus, and just like showing them really what CUSA actually is and what CUSA has to offer for them, right? Because like there are a lot of first year students who often don't really know what services and opportunities that CUSA offers. So it's really great to see that so many students were able to sort of see that firsthand and can take advantage of that during their years at Carlton. So yeah, that's my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I move on to the next speaker, which is the Vice President of Finance, I would encourage everyone who is able to do so to turn on their cameras, just to make it more interactive and easier for others to listen to you. Thanks on that. Vice President of Finance, you have the floor.
Just quickly, I have one question, Raj, or Mr. Speaker. Yes. Would you like me to share the screen to the agenda?
I can do, if you can do that, yes, please.
Okay, sure thing. I just saw a comment in the chat, so I figured I'd ask. Okay, thank you.
Vice President of Finance. Or we can just wait for the agenda to be shared.
Sure, sharing it right now. I will. Oh no, I don't think that worked. Oh, here we go.
Hello. Can you hear us in the
This is Gabe. Oh, fucking hell. Okay. Darn.
You can clip it to your.
This is easier. Okay.
Could everyone in the room that's on campus right now?
We received budget proposals from all the service centers, all the services department. You guys know which ones they are: GSRC, CDAC, the Wellness Center, Mwanda Seg, the Women's Center, Hatch, and the service center, but an important part of our student services. Received the budget from the Advocacy and Outreach Department. Streamlined approach to how we're looking at a streamlined approach to how we fund CUSA campaigns in that budget, and it's coming out pretty well. Then we got the student development and governance. Sorry, the formatting is off. I'm not a fan of the formatting, I'll just say that. But consistent, strong funding for critical areas, including clubs. It was really important that we got that nailed down, and Sam and the rest of his team got that all straightened out. So I'm really happy to see that. And really, the budget is a big part of what September has looked like. So I think that shows here. And yeah, moving on to Davin. All
right, could I just interrupt for a second, Raj,
Sure.
Mr. Speaker? Everybody who's in the room that is on Davin's screen, it would be really helpful if they could just log on to a Zoom, their own personal Zoom, and speak from their own personal Zoom. It doesn't seem to be working.
Can you hear this?
I don't even know where Gabe is coming from right now.
Sorry, the picture, I know it's ugly, but it's like, it's still me. It's still me.
We can't see you.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please, VP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My report will be brief because we have a lot of business with which to dispense this meeting. The October by-election, which is going to be approved when we approve the electoral code today, will go forward on Monday the 17th. That's really the main thing we have to look out for in the next couple of weeks. Well, one of at least two main things. Committees, more students, a larger one for all of our committees. Please encourage anyone that would be a good fit. We're still looking for a few vacancies. Some of them are filled, like student issues, but some of them still would need more people. The judicial policy was passed at the CPRC, and a committee has met just the other day to select candidates for our judicial branch, our students tribunal, and the electoral tribunal. So you'll see that coming up later in this meeting. In the wonderful world of clubs, things are going great. Expo took place, and so did the club's conference. Fall funding will be open until the 30th, which is also the time where we want all of our clubs to complete executive training and amendments to the Constitution that might be necessary. A new club's website is going to be live very soon. They've been updating it piecemeal, ship of Theseus style, and it'll be all done soon. And we'll have a form for storage space in our CUSA storage rooms, and a lot of hardware has been already claimed by clubs. I know some counselors indicated an interest, and we've tried to get them. Some students have indicated interest. We try to get to them as much as possible, but we still have a good deal of stuff left over. And we've been in talks with UOSU as well for a close relationship with the clubs over the student union at U Ottawa. I'll keep you updated as those talks progress. That's all I have today, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Again, my recommendations for council are to vote in favor of all the motions we have on the agenda. They're all very necessary to make sure our by-election runs fairly and smoothly.
Thank you, VP Internal. I will take up on Madam President's recommendation for everyone present in the room to switch to their own personal devices, as it's a lot easier for everyone joining virtually, which was in the agenda. Well, it was planned to hear everyone in the room. So if you can all switch to your own personal devices. Thank you in advance for that. We'll move on to VP student issues. I think that's, yes, you're present. Okay, you're with VP. Okay, yeah, VP student issues. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that. Hello, councillors. I will keep my presentation pretty short. So we started the first CUSA campaign before Play Ask. It was a big success. You can see the agenda for all our events. We had two big events. We had Sexy Jeopardy, Sex Toy Bingo. Both were full houses, amazing turnouts. It's safe to say that events back in person are doing really well at CUSA. We also participated in I Believe You Day with other Canadian associations in Ontario, Brock University, University of Manitoba, some to name, that we participated along with the university as well. Thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. And update is this week is Orange Shirt Day campaign, our second campaign at CUSA. You can still pick up your t-shirt if you want. I'm just sending in the Google document in the council group chat on Instagram. So if you haven't picked up a t-shirt yet, you can do that. And we also have a lot of button pins that we're still making right now. So come grab them, and also a sticker. And pronoun pins. So part of our long-term EDI efforts, and to be part of the part of the Pride Festival starting the first week of October, CUSA will be providing pronoun pins to all students at large. So when you come to the CUSA office next week, you should be finding some pronoun pins for with different variations of pronouns. And yeah, I'm also working in conjunction with the president to advocate for the repainting of the Pride crosswalk with the progressive flag. So we're advocating for that. We're hoping that we're able to get things moving. And then we're also trying to advocate to get some of the flags raised at university that are so important. For example, the Every Child Matters flag and the Algonquin Nation flag. We're hoping the Pride flag is raised, but only for some time, but we're hoping to do that as a long-term thing. The other things that I've been working on is the UPass negotiations for next year, how that system would work, including the one pass system with the conjunction of the UPass and the campus card. I'm working on that as well. Other updates is upcoming is Pop the Stigma. It's going to be our mental health awareness campaign. It's going to be from October 12th to the 19th. So stay tuned for that. Our cultural campaign is called Mosaic. It just got passed today in our working group. It's going to be called Mosaic. It's going to be happening in November. And then I started the preliminary discussion for the mental health strategic action plan for CUSA to adopt. And a town hall will be hosting in early November 1st week with Raw. And I'm also working with VPCE on the Panda Party Safe Awareness and the CUB Good Neighbor campaign. And then overall overview of CUSA advocacy efforts that we will be doing throughout the year. That's all from me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, VP Esther Nishues. Madam President, I notice you have your hand up. Is there anything you'd like to discuss?
Sorry, I think I forgot to put it down. Sorry about that.
All good. Thanks. Next, we have Vice President Student Life. You have the floor.
Good evening, Council.
Sorry, I did request everyone to switch to your own personal devices as it is hard for people joining virtually to hear you. So if you could do that, that would be appreciated.
Can you hear me? The board chair subbing in as our AV tech. If we use our own personal devices, there's going to be a feedback loop in the room, and it's going to be even worse.
That's why, sorry.
Yes, Madam President.
That's why everyone was asked to join virtual. Like there was instructions for everyone to everyone was asked to join virtually earlier today.
Yes, the email by the speaker specifically said that it's virtual for everyone. It is fully virtual. So I think we have the speaker wishing to speak. You have the floor, speaker.
Sorry, just wanted to state, so if people who are there in person, if you wouldn't mind if you put your camera or have your camera open, but you turn off your sound and you just have one sound that's coming through, that should work. Just do it from somebody else's computer and then just listen from there, and then have your cameras on so we can see you.
Yes, okay, we will take up on that recommendation, and if everyone in the room can do that, it would be appreciated. It's also extremely hard for me to count votes once we do go to voting. So if you can switch to your own personal devices and have one device on for the sound, that would be appreciated. I'll give it 2 minutes for everyone to adjust to that.
Hey everyone, so we're just turning the sound on so you guys can hear what it would sound like if we all, sorry. Is this better?
No, it isn't. So there is feedback. Okay.
Everyone else will have to turn off their volume.
No, it's because we're needing to use the room speakers to hear those of you who are virtual. Just a bit of background that I got the email when I was already on campus and I didn't have the technology to actually join in virtually. I don't have a pair of headphones with me, so this is sort of my only option. I think that's probably similar for many of us in the room, which is why we're here. Can you hear me through this microphone? Or
Yes, I can. Okay, and I understand that you all gathered in a room and are wanting to do it through one camera and one microphone. I will let it pass for this time. You can do it this way. I know it is what it is, so we'll just continue in this format. But I will require someone to count the votes in the room and let me know about the votes, just because I can't see everyone through the one screen that you're all using, the Davin screen. So if you can just count and let me know.
Hi, sorry, Mr. Speaker. One other thing that we could possibly do is everybody has their cameras on, but nobody has sound. But the thing is, they speak through the microphone of the rooms, like the rooms.
Okay, yes, thanks for your recommendation, but I think we'll just go with this format because just in the spirit of time, and we don't have any other alternatives. We'll just go on with what's been happening, what they've been trying. So, okay, we'll move on to Vice President Student Life.
Point of order, just
Yes.
if I can. The only two voting members in the room are on their own laptop, so they can just raise their hands virtually as normal.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, if you can just, we can continue with this format then, just for this meeting. But from next meeting onwards, if we ever have a fully virtual meeting, please respect that and please have it on your personal devices. But I'll yield the floor now to Vice President Student Life.
Alrighty. Good evening, Council. So this is going to be a really, really brief report. Fall orientation was a huge success. We had more than 1,000 participants at our first block party of the year, which was held on September the 4th. We're doing evaluation right now, and we're setting a process for the next year, and as well as planning for the year ahead, based upon whatever we learned from fall orientation. So the programming coordinator and I are really excited for the year ahead. Athletics, as mentioned, we're strengthening our partnership with athletics further. We are helping with Panda. VP Community Engagement would be shedding more light on that. We were also there for the Athletics Expo on the 15th. So we tabled over there. And then, of course, as executives, we have taken the initiative to be representatives for our CU Ravens teams. VP Finance and I are personally going to sit on the athletics board from this year and onwards, as is reviving after 2 years of absence. We have also started planning for the CUSA Gala. The programming coordinator and I are starting up on our preparation, so look out for that. I also started for the harm reduction meeting, which was last Tuesday. And it was right after our first Thursday of the year. So we had a lot of good feedback and good response from the university. So things are looking in favor of us. For the month ahead, unfortunately, this year for Panda, we're not holding any kind of event at Ollie's. It's solely because of resources and the fact that we just felt that there are other avenues where we can dedicate these resources, as well as other campus security and other university partners should focus on outside rather than on campus. There's going to be a CUSA thrift drive starting on October the 3rd, going on till October the 12th. So you can drop off your clothes if you have any. Please, there are going to be instructions put up on our social media on what exactly to do. It starts from October 3rd goes on till 10th for drop off, and then on 12th you have pickup. So it's like a clothing swap. We also have a mixology event on the day of Halloween, something new that we're trying, and the potential date right now is October 31st. Hopefully, I'm honestly hoping that it works out, and it's going to be at Haven. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Student Life. Next, we'll move on to VP Community Engagement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So for the past month, we took part in tabling at orientation for Frosh, which was amazing. Lots of interaction. I was actually able to join and judge for pitch night at Ollie's with Hatch. Really great experience. We've got some amazing ideas and a lot of creative, entrepreneurial students here. So good for those Carlton students. Also had a huge success at Sex Toy Bingo, max capacity. It was so much fun. Definitely planning on having more in the future, so be sure to register for those. So upcoming, ongoing, today we have started our Orange Shirt Day campaign, led by the VPSI. So what I'm having on Friday is our Indigenous Vendor Market with Mwanda Sag Center, 2:30 p.m. in Haven. I will also put in the council group chat a link to the registration form for a traditional beading workshop, which will start at 2:30 p.m. as well, upstairs of Haven, located at 43 Seneca Street. We are not having Elder Irene Barbeau do the opening ceremony anymore. It's going to be a drum song by Aurora. Please don't do that. It's going to be a drum song by Aurora from the Mwanda Sag Center, and there will be beading a traditional flower workshop and Panda as well. We will be tabling throughout the week, and we'll also be doing door knocking with SEO, other offices, as well as like OPP. And this Haven tabling is oh, yes, the Haven tabling is for the snacks and drinks. Pardon me, sorry, there's just a lot going on. For the Panda game, so just so we can get potato chips, we can get water to our students, ensure that they are hydrated, and we are promoting safety for this event, because what is better than having fun and staying safe at the same time. Also, the Get Out to Vote campaign. I've also reached out to CASG and Raw, who I'm very happy have said they were more than happy to help us out with this. It's going to be taking place in Richcraft at 3:30 p.m. in room 2200. So we'll have the mayoral candidates. We're going to have the Capital Ward candidates as well. Mr. Speaker, if you're able to just like scroll a bit so I can. Thank you so much. And we will also be having a upcoming community engagement committee meeting. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, VP. Next, we'll move on to CUSA staff. First, we have Executive Director, who I do see here on the agenda is away on medical leave, and responsibilities are being carried out by the President. The President, if you have anything to add or let us know about, please let us know.
Sure. The executive director is back now, but for the past 2 weeks he was away on medical leave, and I took over, his one-on-one meetings, and that's where a lot of the budget work came from. We also did a lot of operational things, such as some privacy work and a key holder policy for staff, which will be circulated at the board level. We also have been coordinating some hiring, some new hiring. So we're in the middle of CRO hiring, policy analyst hiring. We are also in the process of the tech and I think it's tech and events or tech and crew. We need some additional staff, which is actually part of the reason why we were not able to meet in person today. But yeah, just those were just a few of the things that I worked on while he was away.
Thank you, Madam President, for that update. Next, we'll move on to the Director of Finance and Administration.
I can just speak on yes. All of them. But yeah, so the Director of Finance and Administration, he's been working on some various different finance and human resource initiatives. He was helping out with the QP 3011 negotiations. We've been in the middle of, confirming some EDI training options with Carlton, which is really excited. And thanks to Faris as well and Hallie for their work on that. We are also working, he's also been working on ADP to onboard and train new staff. We've also worked on we circulated the new disconnecting from work strategy that passed at the board level. And then, finance largely has been to do with the budget as well. Yeah, you could scroll down. Okay, yeah, we can move on to the next one.
Yes, Director of Communications and Strategy.
Yeah, so the communications department has been really busy over this, beginning of the school year. Frosh has been working hard on lots of merchandise, both for, CUSA in general, but also for the various departments and businesses, updating signage, uniforms merch. We also ordered some pronoun pins, which will be, and I think the plan is to make some buttons as well, which will be available for counselors too, if you like to come pick one up. For things that they're working on now, they're hiring photographers and videographers. They are facilitating the Panda Game Community Partnership Plan with the Vice President Community Engagement, redesigning the CUSA Club's website that Davin talked about, and sort of redesigning some of the internal spaces. And then also working on the strategic planning committee research and resource document creation, which that's upcoming as our long-term strategic plan committee will be meeting shortly and starting some regular meetings. Financial impact, it says it has CUSA clubs, Haven at Work, and IT hardware and office furniture. Haven at Work is something that we're still working on. It's the upstairs level of Haven, and we're hoping to have it open in the winter semester.
Next, we'll move on to Director of Student Services.
Maybe could you scroll down a little bit?
Yes, there you go.
So lots happening here. One big one that we actually worked on together was the legal aid clinic, which their services will be coming back to campus. Before COVID, they sort of worked out of the GSA office, but they will now be working out of the CUSA office, out of one of our boardrooms, and there will be some things posted about that, but they will be on campus, able to help our students, and then a lot of work, over Frosh with the service centers, tablings, expos, things like that. That they're also working on staffing some service centers, especially the Mwandaseg, working on promotional materials and their budget. And then things that are upcoming are the Orange Shirt Day with CDAC, Women's Center, Mwandaseg, and I know Hallie and Forrest are working really hard on that too. Mental Health Month with Wellness, Indigenous Disability Awareness Month, and other service center events. Oh, and I see there he also included the conversation, which was the mental health plan that we just signed.
Thank you for that. Next, we'll move on to Director of Student Development.
So the Student Development Department, which consists of our events and clubs as well, they facilitated an enriching in-person clubs conference. They've been working on their budget as well. And then supported follow programming like the block party, clubs expo, CUSA Jeopardy, and headphone silent disco at Ollie's. So those were some big accomplishments, and also working towards strengthening the events plan for the rest of the year. Upcoming, working with executives to staff and reorganize policy portion of website. I know that's a big one. And then also, really working hard on this by-election with the electoral code, getting that ready for council today. Supporting committee and subcommittee work, which we've created a shared calendar for council, and I'll be circulating that via email to all councilors. And we created one for the board as well. So it will be there will be two shared calendars, so that if there are any councilors who sit on a board committee, you can see very, very easily when that committee is meeting. And we're hoping that it'll help with scheduling and staying organized and making sure that all counselors and directors know when meetings are happening and receive proper notice and receive the invitation that they need. And I know that the director's recommendation to council is to ensure that the electoral code is passed today so that we can move forward with this by-election.
Thank you, Madam President. Next, we'll move on to the chair of the board. If you have anything to let us know about, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, I can see you and hear you.
Fabulous. I made the trek all the way up here. I don't have all that much to say, actually. Actually, funnily enough, the Charlatan's most recent article about our most recent board meeting is as succinct as it gets. Yeah, we had a very short We had a meeting in September. We've got a meeting coming up October the 6th. Public meeting. You are all welcome to attend. That will be on October 6th at 1 p.m. at Haven. We're hoping to not do any virtual options because the it is very difficult. Other than that, as per usual, the board is always here. We're always happy to improve our relationship with council and work with council as well. Oh, I see, Mark, you say thanks. Yeah, that's all from me. But you know, as I say, any questions for the board, anything that we can do to support council's work, we're always here. Well, thank you.
Thank you for that. Next, we'll move on to external reports. First up is Cash G, the Carlton Academic Student Government. Anyone wishing to speak and give us a report?
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, everyone. I hope the first few weeks of classes have been kind, and I'm very happy to be here tonight and quickly just share some of the highlights of our work over the last month. So as a bit of a recap, we were happy to work with the SEO on a few collaborative projects for fall orientation and just sort of starting off the year strong. So those included Canal Games Expo and the Student Services Fair. I also attended the Senate meeting on Friday afternoon with the university executives and administration. At all of these events, our priorities were speaking with incoming and returning students to share our work, providing contact information for students looking for academic and advocacy support, promoting our new project, and providing strong student representation from our organization. And now that our summer project is released, I'm really happy to share a bit more information about that. So we launched our Student Support Hub at the beginning of September, after acknowledging that while there are a lot of supports at Carlton, there's no centralized place to access that support. So our Student Support Hub is available on Instagram and on our website, and it features really important services like the great Empower Me service provided by CUSA and many others. So feel free to check that out throughout the year. It'll remain on the website for access. And then over the past few weeks, we've also finalized our student hiring and now have successfully filled positions for the graphic designer, equity officers, council clerk, and council chair. So with our full team of executives, coordinators, and student staff, we all participated in an equity workshop from Carlton's Equity and Inclusive Communities to ensure the leadership in our organization had an opportunity to learn and engage with equity early in the year. We'll also be holding our council-wide workshop for counselors to have this opportunity later in the semester as well. And speaking of counselors, we are wrapping up our council elections this week with voting days for 3 contested seats being tomorrow and Wednesday of this week. The success of these elections has put our council at over 50 members, so I'm really happy to have a council full of representation this year. And our first meeting will be October 13th in person. With that being said, though, there are still vacant seats in FPA, FAS, and Sprott. So if anyone is interested, please do reach out to myself or Gray. And then if you are in engineering or science and you are interested, we can also help connect you to the right people. It's not us, but we'll help you figure out who you're supposed to go to. And then looking forward, our focus will be centered around council and various onboarding and training opportunities for our counselors. But as always, if you do have any questions or are interested in any sort of collaboration, please feel free to reach out to any of our executives through email or social media. Thanks.
Thank you for that report. Next, we'll move on to the Rideau River Residents Association. Any representative from the RAW wishing to speak, please do so now. Do we have anyone giving a report today? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Graduate Students Association. Any representative from the GSA wishing to give the councilor a report? Also seeing none, we'll move on to the Board of Governors. Any representative wishing to speak? Also seeing nobody, we'll move on to the delegation. We have a delegation joining us today at council today to give a report and to talk about some important things. We have the Carlton Ukrainians joining us. If the representative for Carlton Ukrainians would like to talk, to speak, you may do so now. You have the floor.
I'm not sure if Erin was also on the call, that she wanted to say something before we begin.
That's okay. If you have a report, you can go ahead and give the council the report.
Okay, for sure. Well, thank you very much for this time. So we at the Carlton Ukrainians Club are here addressing a hate crime towards the Ukrainian community of Carleton University. On Wednesday, September 14th, one of our members found graffiti in the washrooms in one of our buildings on our campus. Graffiti depicted the letter Z with the word Russia written above it in Russian. For non-Ukrainians and in general, people who are not exposed to Russia-Ukrainian context news to a significant extent, it is important to know that the Z and V and other symbols of the Russian military actions in Ukraine since its full-scale to be much more aware of these symbols since it's Russia's full-scale invasion on the 24th of February 2022. This graffiti, therefore, is not only a statement of solidarity with Russian military forces and Russian genocide of Ukrainians taking place currently, but also a direct violation of Carleton's discrimination and harassment policy. Many Ukrainian students currently at Carleton had to leave their homes because of the Russian invasion. They live every day with knowledge that the Russian military forces are killing people in their home country, possibly even their family and our friends. Some of them became witnesses of violence or even death. Some of them perhaps became victims of the crimes committed by Russian military forces. So there are no words, absolutely no words to describe how traumatizing it is for Ukrainian students of Carleton University to be exposed to this expression of hatred and know that they cannot feel safe in their new community. It is therefore recognized as unacceptable not only by Ukrainian students, but also by those caring for Ukraine, its people, culture, and independence. We want to thank every Carleton student who reported the case to us and raised awareness leading to the action that needed to be taken. As of now, Carleton Ukrainians contacted Carleton Security Services, filed a police report, and the sign was removed. We acknowledge that the graffiti was eliminated in the shortest time frame possible and are grateful as the removal reduced the number of students exposed to it. We want Carleton students and CUSA to unite in making Carleton University safe for every person teaching, studying, or working at it. If you or anyone, if you see statements that don't align with the violence and harassment prevention policy, please report it immediately to Carleton Ukrainians, a manager, supervisor, or to the Department of University Safety. The non-emergency line is 613-520-3612. In the event of an emergency, the Department of University Safety should be contacted at 613-520-4444. This information is from the Workplace Violence Prevention Policy of Carleton University. For all Ukrainian students of Carleton University, please know that we support you and are ready to help you in any way needed. We ask Carleton University Students Association to clearly communicate the services available for Ukrainian students at Carleton University and all the ways that the university can guarantee them safety and reliance. We also further ask CUSA to reaffirm their support for Ukrainian students on campus and work together with Carleton and us to prevent further hate crimes against our community and others. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Дякую.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sellinger, for bringing to light such an important issue and such an unfortunate event that happened. And on behalf of the council, I would like to state that CUSA stands against all and any forms of hatred, racism, and xenophobia in general. And we will always be there for your organization and for every single student of Carleton if they ever need any support with anything of this sort. And just know that we stand in solidarity with you. And if you ever need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to any of the counselors or any of the executives. We're always more than happy to help and stand in solidarity. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the council reports. We have constituency reports first. FPA, Faculty of Public Affairs. Anyone wishing to give us a report, please do so now. Seeing none, we'll move on to Faculty of, sorry, I'm just looking. Okay, next we have FAST. Anyone wishing to give us a report? Seeing none, next we have Faculty of Business. Seeing none, we have Faculty of Science. Also seeing none, we have at last the Faculty of Engineering and Design. Anyone wishing to speak? Also seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. First up, we have the Constitution and Policy Review Committee, the CPRC. They have attached the minutes. Anyone wishing to give us a report on CPRC may do so now.
Hi, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. Please let me know if you can't. So yeah, the CPRC met just short of 2 weeks included there for you all to check that out. But we also recommend that the council adopt the following motions further later, and they are the motion to adopt the referenda and recall policy, motion to adopt the electoral code, proclamation of referendum, motion to declare a position on continued membership in the Canadian Federation of Students, motion to adopt the judicial policy, motion to appoint members of the judicial branch, and motion to adopt the external relations policy. Once again, these will all be discussed further, but we would like for all these to be adopted by council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lepre, for that update. Any other committees wishing to make a report, please do so now. Seeing none, I'll move on to number 7, item number 7, announcements and correspondence. Anyone wishing to declare any conflicts of interest, please do so now. Yes, VP Internal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to, at this time, declare a conflict of interest on the consideration of the Electoral Code. The Electoral Code we have drafted for council is a very thorough document. Anybody who might reasonably be involved in an election in the future as a candidate, a campaign manager, campaign associate of any kind, I would heavily encourage them to also at this time recuse themselves from consideration of this motion. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Vice President Internal. Next, we have Madam President.
Yeah, I just want to echo what the Vice President Internal said, and just really, you know, clarify that anybody who intends to run in a CUSA election in the coming year, or work on a campaign in any sort, really should endeavor to submit a conflict of interest, declare a conflict of interest, whether you are, you know, thinking about it, whether you're unsure. It's really important that you declare a conflict of interest and you know, keeping with transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Anyone else wishing to declare a conflict of interest? Seeing none, I'll move on to the next item, which is items for information. There's a decision from in reference to CU Shotgun 2022. It is attached in the agenda. You can give it a read. Second is committee minutes. It is also linked in the agenda. You can give it a read if you'd like to. Third is correspondence to council. Is there anyone wishing to make a correspondence or discuss anything regarding this item? Also seeing none, we'll move on to the notice of motion, and anyone wishing to make a notice of motion? Nobody. We'll move on to question period now. The floor is open for any questions. Please go ahead and ask away. Okay, also seeing no questions from anybody, we'll move on to our regular business for the day. First up, we have the unfinished business. We have a motion to adopt the referenda and recall policy C39. I'll read out the motion and then we'll vote on it. Whereas the Constitution and Policy Review Committee agreed unanimously again to recommend that Council adopt this policy, and whereas the Association finds direct democracy highly important, and whereas the Association should find it valuable to have a policy governing referenda and the expression of students at large in the affairs and decisions of the Association. Be it resolved that the draft referenda and recall policy designated X02 as recommended by the CPRC on the 14th of September be adopted, and be it further resolved that section 2.5J of the old bylaw I1 Council and section 1 inclusive of the old bylaw 4 finances and fees be declared inoperative per the February 2022 interpretation statement. This motion is moved by Councillor Lepre and seconded by Councillor Vecchio, and it is now open for debate. Anyone wishing to speak on the motion? Madam President, you have your hand raised. You have the floor.
Yeah, I'll just quickly note that I referred this one back to the CPRC at last council meeting because we had a few pieces to amend based on university feedback and other things, and it has now received extensive review and is in line with things that we must follow as tenants of Carlton. So I think this is ready to be approved, and I fully support it today.
Thank you for that. Anyone else wishing to discuss this motion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. It is moved by Councillor Lepre and seconded by Councillor Vecchio that the motion to adopt the referenda and recall policy C39 shall be passed. All those in favor, please raise your hand. You can use your raise hand function on Zoom to let me know. Thank you. You can put down your, no, don't yet. Okay, you can put it down. Thank you. All those opposed? Seeing none, the motion does pass with 12 in favor and none against. This is including the proxy votes. Thank you so much, and it has passed. The motion has passed. Moving on to new business, we have the motion to adopt the Electoral Code C46. Whereas the Constitution and Policy Review Committee agreed unanimously to recommend that Council adopt this policy, and whereas the association finds, okay, wait for a second. We do need to go through the amendment first. Apologies for that. So we'll go through the amendment first and then vote on C46, the motion to adopt the Electoral Code, as the amendment does pertain to the Electoral Code that was drafted by the CPRC. So we'll first vote on the amendment to the Electoral Code. Madam President.
Oh, sorry, I just prematurely raised my hand to move or second the motion.
Okay, I'll just read out the amendment first, and then I'll recognize you.
Okay.
Thank you. So the amendment is C46A. Be it resolved that the following text be inserted as section 47.3. You can read the text in the agenda. And the second is be it further resolved that the following text be inserted as section 52, pairs 1 and 2. You can also read it in the agenda. I'm looking for a mover for this resolution. Anyone willing to move this? We have Madam President willing to move, and anyone wishing to second the motion. We have Councillor Vecchio willing to second. The amendment is now open for debate. Anyone wishing to discuss or debate this amendment may do so now. Madam President.
Yeah, I'll just say that we have been speaking to the department that facilitates our elections currently, and this is the feedback they gave us for no confidence votes, and so I know that Davin and one of our staff members worked on this really hard today because we just received feedback today from that department. So I support this amendment, and I think it's a really important addition to the Electoral Code.
Thank you for that. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will move to vote. And the motion is an amendment to the draft Electoral Code as drafted by the Constitution and Policy Review Committee. The amendment is moved by Madam President and seconded by Councillor Vecchio. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against the motion, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we have 11 in favor and 0 opposed, so this amendment carries. Now we'll go back to the motion to adopt the Electoral Code C46 now that we have passed the amendment. Whereas the Constitution and Policy Review Committee agreed unanimously to recommend that Council adopt this policy, and whereas the Association finds a well-regulated and continually improved electoral system highly important, and whereas the Association should find it valuable to have a new electoral code to reflect the modern realities of CUSA Council elections, to effectively regulate and withhold from regulation where needed. Be it resolved that the draft electoral code designated X01 as recommended by the CPRC on the 14th of September be adopted, and be it further resolved that the old electoral code declared inoperative per the February 2022 interpretation statement. Anyone wishing to debate this motion, please do so now. Madam President, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I'll just say I'm really excited about this code. It was worked on by, a neutral third party, which is really, really exciting. And I know a lot of the executives ran on, Appoint to improve our electoral system and reform our electoral system. And I believe that this is in line with those reforms that are necessary. It falls in line as well with the democratic reforms that were passed last year. The staff member who took the time to draft this did so, reviewing the democratic reform findings and all their documentation and whatnot. And it received extensive review and consultation by internally by our staff and executives, but also by the CPRC. And I just think it's really exciting. And I will just say that it has been sent to our lawyers for review. They unfortunately did not have time to provide a full in-depth review yet. I doubt that there will be anything, but if there is anything, we'll bring that back to council as needed for the winter election. But it's a really great code. So I support it. And I think everyone else should as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move to vote on this motion. The motion to adopt the Electoral Code C46, it is moved by Councillor Lepore and seconded by Councillor Vecchio. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. We have 11. All those opposed, please put your hands down. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Madam President, your hand is still up. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, we have 11 in favor and 0 opposed, and the motion carries. Thank you all for that. We'll move on to the next order of business, which is the proclamation of a referendum on the Canadian Federation of Students, C47. Whereas the association is currently Local 01 of the Canadian Federation of Students, and whereas a full-time Carlton student currently pays $18.18 a year to the CFS and its affiliates and subsidiaries, a sum total of over $550,000 per year, making the CFS the most costly external ancillary fee group. And whereas the 2021-2022 Ad Hoc Ancillary Fee Reform Committee identified the CFS in their final report as the fee group least beneficial for students at the cost paid, and whereas this association is one that values direct democracy and the consultation of students for the matters that concern them. And whereas the bylaws of the Canadian Federation of Students impose an overly restrictive scheme for referenda of students, the only means by which a student union may be able to leave the CFS and be free from its fees. And whereas the Executive Council has unanimously endorsed a referendum on the CFS, and whereas this referendum question has been vetted and approved by the Constitution and Policy Review Committee for Section 6.1 of the Association's referenda and recall policy. Therefore, be resolved that a referendum be jointly proclaimed by this council to take place on the 17th of October 2022 per subsection 4A and 22A and B of the referenda and recall policy, with the following preamble and question. Carlton students currently pay $9.09 per semester in combined fees for membership into the Canadian Federation of Students and its subsidiaries and affiliates, totaling over $550,000 this year alone. Are you in favor of continued membership in the Canadian Federation of Students? And the options are yes, I support the membership in the CFS and the fees paid. And the second one being no, I do not support membership in the CFS or the fees paid. Anyone wishing to speak on this motion, please do so now. The floor is open. Madam President, you have the floor.
Yes, I'll just say that this is something that the Executive Council has considered as well, and is fully in favor of. We are committed to following in the footsteps of last year and getting rid of ancillary fees that serve no purpose to the student body at a really large expense. And we're really excited to be working on this. I saw that the VPI had his hand raised, and I'm sure he'll have a lot more to say on the matter. But I'm really excited to see this one through, and hope that it will pass today.
Thank you. VP Internal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to talk for a while because I got something that I think needs to be said, and then I will speak no more, at least until the next motion, which will probably say something. Now, for those who know me, they know that I'm a big fan. I'm a big proponent of democracy, right? It's one of my greatest passions and one of my strongest principles. Don't tell the Pope, but I worship at the altar of democracy. It's something very important to me. Democracy, the rule of law, due process, a free and voluntary association. These are all things that I hold dear. They're all things that I think are essential in a student union, in any body that represents people. And these are all qualities that I think the Canadian Federation of Students has a severe deficiency in. Now, I don't want to talk so much about the services the CFS doesn't really provide us for the money we pay them, or any of the other many lacks, I think, that you can find on an objective analysis of the organization. I just want to talk for a bit about their democratic processes, about the bylaws and policies that they've laid down, about the bylaws they've imposed on Carlton, on CUSA, and Carlton students. In order to leave the CFS, you need to have a referendum of students. And in this process, they've created the world's most convoluted means for holding a referendum that borders on unfair and undemocratic. They set up so many hurdles to make it almost impossible for student unions and for student leaders and advocates to leave this organization. Let me walk you through it, a little bit of what they do. Before you're even able to ask the question, you need 15% of campus to sign a petition saying that they want to hold a referendum. 15%. That's over 4,000 students at Carlton. There are many referenda and elections that we had that don't get the 15% voter turnout. There are many schools that never get that high. This is a high hurdle. And of this petition, there is one paper copy. Only one is allowed to exist, and has to be sent by registered priority mail to the CFS office in downtown Ottawa. One copy in paper sent by mail downtown. They don't accept it if it's not priority registered mail. They wouldn't accept it when CUSA staff in the past walked downtown to their office and stood it with the papers in their hand trying to give it to the secretary there. That's pretty ridiculous. They only allowed the referendum to be held for 5 out of the 12 months of the year. There are vast swaths of the school year where the CFS won't even let you hold a referendum. And they won't let you hold a referendum at the same time you have an election for your student union. Additionally, every election, like the ones we have here at CUSA, we've reformed our processes, has a fair, an independent third-party moderator, a chief returning officer. And the one for the CRO for the CFS election is chosen by the national executive of the CFS. This is the CRO who approves campaign materials, who sets the number of polling places for the election, who is the arbiter of fact. It's chosen by them. But thank God that you can have an appeal from the CRO, and you can appeal from this chief returning officer to an appeals committee that has the members of the CFS national executive on it. And after all of this, you get the actual election, which is conducted by paper ballots in the year of our Lord 2022. Paper ballots. They choose the number of polling places. They choose the means by paper. They would not let it an election be online even in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. This is the level of undemocratic practices we're dealing with in this organization. And even after all that, even after jumping through all these hoops and hurdles, the CFS assembly can still reject a clear referendum by the students of a school in a meeting somewhere in Ottawa. Once a year, they can say, no, we don't go along with what you say. This is ludicrous to me. I'm a big believer in democracy. I try, and I know that all of you try to make CUSA's processes as fair as possible. So looking at these, it's abhorrent. It's unconscionable to me. I learned something in PAPM 2000 once. I heard about a guy called John Locke. Now, this guy Locke, one thing that he said was, a group of people that are joined together for a common intention, a group like this, he called it a church or a commonwealth. A group like this should be as easy to leave as it is to join. And that's not what the CFS is doing. It's so easy to join and so hard to leave. John Locke said that the rules should be binding on people only as long as they choose to adhere to those rules. And for the last decade, Carlton's been trying to say to the CFS that we don't want to follow these oppressive rules, and they haven't been listening. That's insane to me. That John Locke in 16 whatever, right, when marrying your cousins was a great idea, and they didn't know that washing your hands was a good health practice. I can't believe he got it right. And in the year of our Lord 2022, the CFS is getting it wrong. That's unconscionable. And that's why we need this referendum, a free and fair referendum under processes that have been reviewed by our CPRC, by council, by the board many times over. This is going to be a fair and free referendum that will allow the people, allow the students to make their voice heard in a matter that isn't sullied or muddled or in any way extinguished or suppressed by an unduly restrictive referendum process. The Roman statesman, Cato the Elder, to throw one more literary reference at you, he was very fond. He would end every single one of his speeches in the Roman Senate, whether they were related or not, with the phrase, and furthermore, Carthage must be destroyed. Carthago delenda est. And thus I will close my speech here today with a very similar phrase. And I'm going to say this every time until we leave. Carlton must leave the CFS. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have today.
Thank you, VP Internal, for those comments. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will move to vote, but we do have a motion to conduct the vote for this motion by roll call. So it is resolved that the vote for motion C47 be conducted by roll call. I need a mover and a seconder. Madam President, we have a mover, Madam President, anybody willing to, and a seconder, we have Councillor Vecchio. It is moved by Madam President and seconded by Councillor Vecchio to conduct the vote for the motion C47 by roll call. Is there anyone opposed to this motion? Okay, and seeing none, with unanimous, it has passed unanimously, and we will conduct the vote by roll call. The vote is for the proclamation of a referendum on the Canadian Federation of Students, C47. It is moved by Councillor Lepre and seconded by Councillor Vecchio. I will start the roll call now, and please unmute yourselves and let me know if you support the motion by saying A, or if you don't, say no, or if you're abstaining, please say abstain. We'll start with FPA. Gauri Bardwaj.
I support the motion, which means that I do not support paying the CFS fee.
So that's an A. Please say A, no, or abstain. But thank you for that. Liam Clark. Liam, can you please unmute yourself and let us know?
I support.
Okay, thank you. Raj Gill, that's me. I support it. I don't think as the chair I can vote, but I'll just do it. Dia Kulkarni.
I support.
Thank you. Francesca Lepere.
Aye.
Cassidy Hammond. I think we have a proxy for Cassidy.
That is correct. I am her proxy for today, and I support on her behalf.
Thank you. Mohammed Maher. I do not think he's with us tonight, so I'll move on to Charlie McDonald.
Aye.
Thank you. Raven Miller. I also think Raven is not present with us tonight. Milate Mullergate. Sorry if I mispronounced that. From FAS. Not present as well. Akhil Samji. He is present, but they just informed me that they cannot speak, but are in support. Medina Sherzad.
I support.
Thank you. Madam President.
I support it as well.
Thank you. Alexis St. Pierre. Not present. Erna Korinik.
A.
Thank you. Stephanie Yugara. Also, sorry if I mispronounced this. I think not present. Jordan Vecchio.
Aye.
Thank you. Cash G Representative Dakota Livingston.
Aye.
Thank you. Raw Representative President Zhang. Also not present. Thank you for that. So the results are in. We have 13 in favor of motion C47 and none opposed. So it does pass. Thank you, everyone, for voting. We will move on to the next motion, which is the motion to declare a position on continued membership in the Canadian Federation of Students, C48. Whereas the association is currently local 01 of the Canadian Federation of Students, and whereas since the last referendum where students attempted to leave the CFS, Carlton students have spent over $2 million on the CFS for inadequate, insufficient, and inferior services. And whereas this council has just approved and proclaimed a referendum on continued membership in the CFS. Therefore, be it resolved that this council adopt as the official position of the association that membership, continued or otherwise, in the Canadian Federation of Students is not useful for Carlton students and as such is not desired by the association. Be it resolved that the association officially endorse the no campaign in the upcoming referendum. Anyone wishing to speak on this motion, please do so now. VP Internal.
Sorry.
This is VP.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
But yeah.
VP Srivastava. Okay, sorry. Just showed Davin Karatao on my screen.
Yeah, no,
Please
all
go.
good. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just gonna make it as quick as possible. As mentioned, as VP Internal has mentioned, CFS no longer serves the best interests of CUSA anymore. We like literally last year in 2021, we took on this mission to be as democratic as possible, and it is really essential at this point that CUSA Council also establishes, relationships with partners and other national lobbies that are democratic in nature. It is also worth noting that it is not really in benefit of any student association to be associated or be in relationship with a national lobby that intimidates and kind of always hangs this burden or this hammer of lawsuits to keep them in. Student associations should be allowed to leave and join as as they wish and as they deem possible. As of this moment, I personally do not believe that CFS serves any interest of the best interest of students at Carlton. Like the advocacy that they do, we have been doing that on our own lately, and quite frankly, and kudos to our VPs over here, especially VP Student Issues and VP Community Engagement. We seem to be doing pretty well in accordance to how effective we have been in the past 3 weeks. And we need to focus on the fact that these resources can be diverted internally rather than associating with a national lobby that, like I said, does not serve us anymore. It's time we joined in 1981. It's time to reevaluate and declare a position. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Srivastava. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing nobody, I'll move on. So this is also okay. Madam President.
Sorry, I'll just really quickly echo what the Vice President Student Life said, and I fully support this position.
Thank you. There's also a motion to conduct the vote by roll call. So we will first do that and go through that. It is resolved that the vote for motion C48 be conducted by roll call. I need a mover and a seconder. Anyone willing to move? Madam President, anyone say? Councillor Vecchio. It is moved by Madam President and seconded by Councillor Vecchio that the vote for motion C48 be conducted by roll call. Anyone opposed to the motion? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, it is passed, and we will therefore vote by roll call. It is moved by Councillor Lepore and seconded by Councillor Vecchio that there be a motion to declare a position on continued membership in the Canadian Federation of Students, C48. We will vote through a roll call. I will call the names, and please let me know if you support or if you're voting no or if you're abstaining. Gauri Bharadwaj.
Can you repeat that, please? Can you scroll up a bit?
The motion you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the motion, motion C48, a motion to declare a position on continued membership in the Canadian Federation of Students.
Sorry, I am completely lost.
Okay.
You're gonna have to repeat that. I'm so sorry.
It's the motion to declare a position on continued membership in the Canadian Federation of Students. And we're just voting through a roll call. And yeah.
So the motion is opposing the membership?
Yes.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Liam Clark.
Aye.
Raj Gill, which is me, aye, if I'm allowed to vote. Dia Kulkarni.
I support.
Thank you. Francesca Lepore.
Aye.
Thank you. Cassidy Hammond.
The proxy for Cassidy supports this on her behalf.
Thank you. Mohammed Maher. Not present. Charlie McDonald.
Aye.
Thank you. Raven Miller. I suspect not present. Milate Mulget. Also sorry if I mispronounced again. Not present. Akhil Samji. Akil, are you present?
He left a comment during the last one saying that he
was.
can't speak.
Yeah, so Akil, if you can just type in the chat and let us know. Okay, can't speak, but I'm in support. So that's I. Akil Samji in support if you can. Okay, Medina Shirzad.
Aye.
Madam President.
Aye.
Alexis St. Pierre. Not present. Aaron Okrenik.
Aye.
Thank you. Stephanie Ugara. Not present, I suspect. That's correct. Not present. Jordan Vecchio.
Aye.
Thank you. Kashi representative, Dakota Livingston.
Aye.
Thank you. Raw representative, I also think they're not present. Yes, Madam President.
I see that Akil just left a message in the chat saying that he
Yes.
supports it.
Yes, I got that message. Yes, thank you. Okay. So through unanimous consent here, we have passed this motion. So the motion is carried. Motion C45 has passed. Thank you everyone for voting. Next, we'll move on to the motion to amend the judicial policy, C49. Whereas the Constitution and Policy Review Committee agreed unanimously on the advice of the board and Carlton administration to recommend that council amend this policy, be it resolved that the judicial policy designated G03 as recommended by the CPRC on the 14th of September be so amended with deletions made in strike through text and additions made in red. Anyone wishing to speak to this motion, please do so now. Seeing none, I will move to vote. It is moved by Councillor Lepre and seconded by Councillor Vecchio that we adopt the motion to amend the judicial policy C49. All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have 8 in favor. Okay, just wait. We still have votes coming in. Please vote. Okay, you can put down your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hand. So we had 9 in favor and 0 opposed. That makes it unanimous. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have the motion to appoint members to the judicial branch, C50. Whereas the judicial policy was approved by council in June of this year, and whereas the judicial branch nominating committee met on the 25th of September and has rendered its recommendation to council. Do we have a point here? Anyone? I see a hand up.
Apologies, everyone. Just a point of order, Chair.
Yes.
The board has not yet approved this. So I think it would be perhaps better or more appropriate to discuss this motion after the board's approval. That's just my point of order, point of information.
Okay. Would someone like to move to postpone it then? Madam President, please.
Yes, I'd like to move to table it until board review.
Okay. Councillor Lepre, if anything? Okay, no. So there is a motion to postpone definitely then, and if VP internal, if you can type it out in the chat, the motion, or I can just play it by ear. And motion. Okay, so we have a motion on floor here, which is motion to Postpone motion C50 definitely. Do we have a mover? Madam President, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Lepre, thank you. So the motion to postpone motion C50 definitely is, do we have a point in the room?
Yes, thank you. We don't need to postpone it indefinitely. It would be postponing either until the next CUSA council meeting. The other option would be to simply amend the motion that.
Okay, can someone move a motion then with all those specific points?
I think that's what I meant when I moved it. I'd just like to table it until the board has reviewed it.
The VPI has just written an appropriate amendment.
Yes, I support moving that amendment.
Okay, so we have we'll vote on the amendment first and then vote on the motion. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, so the motion to amend is as follows. We are amending the first be it resolved for motion C50, be it resolved that council appoints the following individuals to serve on the judicial bodies of the association. The amendment being added is with the term effective upon the board's approval of the judicial policy. It is moved by Madam President and seconded by, do we have a seconder? Councillor Lepre, would you like to second it? Yes, okay, thank you. It is moved by Councillor Lepre. We will vote to, we will move on to vote. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Or we can just, sorry about that, we can just wait for VP Internal to add the boards to make a motion. Okay, so the amendment C50A is as follows. Be it resolved that the words, quote, with a term effective upon the board's approval of the judicial policy be inserted at the end of the resolution above. It is moved by Madam President and seconded by Councillor Lepre. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed? Seeing none, it is carried with unanimous consent. Thank you for that. Now we will go back to the motion to appoint members to the judicial branch C50, which was amended just right now. I'll read it out again. Whereas the judicial policy was approved by council in June of this year, and whereas the judicial branch nominating committee met on the 25th of September and has rendered its recommendation to council. Be it resolved that council appoint the following individuals to serve on the judicial bodies of the association with a term effective upon the board's approval of the judicial policy. For the Students' Tribunal, you can read them. It's in the agenda, alternates, and there's the list for the Electoral Tribunal. You can also read it, it's in the agenda. I'll move, anyone wishing to speak on this motion, please raise your hand. Madam President.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say I really don't think it's appropriate for a former ROGSEC and CUSA rep to be sitting on the electoral tribunal. We really emphasized hiring a CRO who is neutral and distanced from CUSA, and it's really disappointing to see that we are not upholding the same neutrality, transparency, and accountability for our electoral tribunal. CUSA is moving towards democratic, excellence, and I really don't believe this upholds our values and reforms. That's why I'll be opposing this motion, and I hope that council cherishes these values as heavily as I do and takes time to reevaluate this decision.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Chair of the board, you have the floor. Or no, I think VP Finance.
Point of order, this isn't the CRO hiring, so it's okay.
I didn't say it was.
Thanks for that point of order. Anyone else wishing to speak to the motion? Madam President.
Yeah, just to clarify, I was just comparing it to the CRO hiring as it's a similar in nature.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Councillor Vecchio. Councillor Vecchio, do you have anything to add?
Hi. Okay, there. I just want to say, when looking over the applicants last night, there are, not many people who came forward for this position. And I think, that's telling. Oftentimes we see this happen in positions for CUSA. And, it's hard to find people to fill committees or to become counselors or to sit on positions like such as this. So I think if we, move to remove this individual off this selected list, then we're going to have another issue, having an open position on this judicial bench. That's not, we're going into a by-election. I don't think that's appropriate at this time. I think we should fill the bench with who we have at this moment. And if, people come forward later at a later date, then potentially we could be putting different individuals on, at that time, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Please raise your hand. Madam President, you have the floor again.
Yeah, I'll just say, just because it's hard to fill, I don't believe that means we should sacrifice our values. And, that mistake will be reflected in decisions made by the tribunal. It's really important to create distance between, bodies that make judicial or electoral decisions and things like that, and create that distance between people who have already served on CUSA, who have conflicts of interest, who know potentially very well the individuals who are associated to, any of those appeals or decisions being made. So I just think that there needs to be some sort of distance created.
Thank you. Anyone else? VP Srivastav.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to make it really quick. First of all, as it is, someone mentioned that the mentioned person has a decent level of experience. So I definitely see the value in having them on the students tribunal. Yep. And also the fact is that they're no longer an undergraduate student over here. I have been informed that it was really hard filling up the seats over here, especially with law students. They're busy as it is. I definitely do not see the point in wasting any further, moments hereby and onwards. I definitely see that CUSA has much more important business to go about in the coming months, and this should not be something that we should be, sweating over. I would highly recommend the council just, give it more thought and just, pass it, because it's high time.
Thank you, VP Srivastav. Madam President, I will give you the floor for brief comments. I've recognized you 3 times, so if you can just keep it brief.
Sure, sorry. No, I'll say I agree that it's not something that we need to sweat over or, be in a hassle over, but I just really wanted to leave that comment because it's something that, we need to reflect on as an association. And if we're going to be saying that we're upholding transparency and accountability and all these things, we need to be, showing that through our actions and our decisions. So I just thought it would be really important to share that perspective as well.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Councillor Lepere.
Sorry about that. Just a quick
point for clarity here. So it was mentioned that a former CUSA representative is sitting on this tribunal. I'm wondering who specifically that is, because to my knowledge, that is not correct. So I was just wondering if we could have clarification with regards to that point specifically. Thank you.
Madam President, go ahead.
Sorry, I was referring to the former RAW executive who, sat on CUSA as a RAW representative and voted and had voting rights through their position with RAW.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Does Councillor Lepre have any additional comments? To see your hand is still up. Seeing none, we will vote on this motion now. It is moved by Councillor Vecchio and it is seconded by Councillor Yogara that the motion to appoint members to the Judicial Branch C50 be passed. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. All those in favor of the motion C50. Thank you. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Thank you. We have 6 in favor and 1 opposed to this motion. The motion does pass. Thank you for that. We'll move on to the next motion, which is the motion to adopt the External Relations Policy, C51. Whereas the Constitution and Policy Review Committee agreed unanimously to recommend that Council adopt this policy, and whereas the Association finds partnerships with external organizations vital for the improvement of the Association, and whereas the Association should find it valuable to have a policy governing external relationships and the free and voluntary formation of partnerships with other organizations. Be it resolved that the draft External Relations Policy designated G11 as recommended by the CPRC on the 14th of September be adopted. Anyone wishing to speak on this motion, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I will move to vote. It is moved by Councillor Lepre and seconded by Councillor Vecchio that the motion to adopt the External Relations Policy C51 be adopted by the Council. All those in favor of this motion, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed? Seeing none, we have 8 and 8 in favor. The motion is carried unanimously. Madam President?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the external policy for 2 seconds. I just wanted to inform council that as per, the policy, the executive council has filled 2 seats. Gabe as the VPF on the for the CFS, for Ontario CFS, and Davin for CUSA. I just wanted to give information on that, but I believe that we'll have that brought to council in a future meeting as well.
Thank you, Madam President, for that point of clarification. I would suggest that all the debate and discussion on a specific motion be kept to the time given for debate and discussion, but that's okay. We will.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just giving some information. Sorry.
That's all good. Thank you. Thanks for Thanks for that. We will move to adjourn. The motion to adjourn is C43. Be it resolved that council adjourns until 7th November 2022, which shall serve as the regular October meeting of council. It does say November. It shouldn't be October. VP Internal. Is it 7th November, or is it a typo, or it should be 7th November?
I'm not the VPSI, but if it was October 7th, then that would just be like Friday next week, which is unusually soon. That's just something to
Yes,
know.
it is. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't realize. Madam President.
Sorry, is it? I was waiting to see how long this meeting went, but would it be too late to vote on adding an additional item at today's meeting?
We could do that, but we'll need to have a vote with 2/3 majority to pass it to add another motion. Since we haven't gone on to adjournments, we could do that. If you would like to introduce a motion.
Yeah, do you want me to share the motion with, I'll just share anyone with this link, and I'll put a link in the chat.
Yes, okay, if you can do that. But I'm pretty sure you have to first move to introduce another motion. So
Okay, yeah, I'd like to move to introduce another motion. This one will be really quick. It's literally just a page long.
Okay, anyone opposed? It is moved by Madam President, seconded by the Speaker, that a new motion shall be introduced. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, I will read out the motion and we will vote on it.
Raj, or Mr. Speaker, could I just ask a quick question? If you could just also read out the mandate. It's really short, just because it wasn't circulated in advance and nobody had the time to review.
Yes, I can do that. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
I think we have a point here, Chair.
Yeah, just a point of order. I'm fairly certain we've already done this. It was certainly passed through the board over the summer, I believe in June or July, because we actually told Davin to write this mandate letter in June, and we passed it, I'm fairly certain, in July. So my knowledge, it's already gone through council. But I just want to check that before we A, waste time, or B, pass something that has already happened. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Madam President, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, so per my, I would love if we could check that, because per my understanding, the mandate letter had not yet been written or passed, and it was brought to my attention by a staff member, and the staff member subsequently wrote this mandate letter and has requested it to be read at this council meeting. But please do correct me if I'm wrong.
Anyone willing to speak to this motion, or I can just go ahead? Okay, seeing none.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I could also clarify that the motion that did pass was a motion to confirm our commitment to creating and striking a executive composition committee, but I don't believe that the mandate letter passed yet. It was just written. Is the VPI able to speak on this?
VPI, do you have any comments?
My knowledge, I can say, sorry, Mr. Chair, I can say we definitively passed it at the board. Council referred the matter of the composition of the executive council to this composition committee when it didn't exist, and then the board created a committee that has this membership here, and that, so to be absolutely clear, council said the executive composition review committee will handle executive composition, and then the board created a committee with that name, thus matching the responsibility council gave to a committee that didn't exist yet to the board. So I think by some legal fiction, it is already completed. We could vote on it again. I'd have to look again at the committee's policy to see if there's any legislative backdoors that when the CPRC wrote the policy last year, we left. So I can get back to you on that one, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, VP Internal. So it sounds to me that we can either vote again on this if it has already passed. Madam President, would you like me to still go ahead and call a vote?
Yeah, I'm not because I'm not sure that a mandate letter was passed. I'd like to see what the chair has to say.
Yes, Chair of the board.
The now very disheveled chair of the board. It is, I believe, a board committee. Correct me if I'm wrong, VPI, who wrote the mandate letter. And if it is a committee that is solely under the board's umbrella, even though it includes counselors, because it is solely under the board's umbrella, council does not need to pass the mandate letter because council has already affirmed its support in the board, looking into executive composition. So as such, council would not need to pass the motion because the board already has the authority to create the committee without council needing to approve it. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I'm quite certain it is a board only committee, which means this motion is unnecessary at council level.
Madam President, anything to add?
Just a question, because you mentioned that the VPI wrote this mandate letter, but this mandate letter was written a few days ago by a staff member who noticed that a mandate letter had not yet been passed. So that's the reason why I'm bringing it here today. So I'm a little bit confused now.
Yes, Chair.
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
Yes, VP Internal.
What day? What staff member? That's two questions, but I'd like to raise a point on both.
Sorry, what were the questions?
What day is the first one, and the second is which staff member?
It was the director of student development, and it was just last week. I don't remember exactly which day, but it was just some day last week.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak to this? Chair of the board.
In our board meeting agenda, what? Oh, thanks, Devin. We have in our agenda from the 9th of August, 2022, a motion that we passed this mandate letter. I don't actually have the minutes in front of me, but I remember for sure that it passed. And this is the mandate letter that Vice President Internal Carlton wrote. So we already have a mandate letter that is not this current mandate letter, which is why I didn't recognize this current mandate letter. We already have a mandate letter. We already have a committee technically.
Okay, thanks for that. Madam President, seeing that it is already there, would you still like the council to go ahead and vote? We can certainly do that, but
no, I don't think it's necessary, and I'm very sorry about this. Sorry for the confusion.
That's all good. So we will not vote on this motion then. Okay, thank you everyone for that and for all the clarifications. I will move to adjourn. It is in fact 7th November 2022. It has been confirmed. Motion to adjourn be resolved that council adjourns until 7th November 2022, which shall serve as the regular October meeting of council. It is moved by myself, the Deputy Speaker, and seconded by Madam Speaker. Anyone opposed to us adjourning? Seeing none, it is carried unanimously. Thank you all for the meeting, and have a wonderful night. Bye.